Olympic Boulevard, Union Pacific Avenue, and the infamous Whittier Boulevard. These are but a few of the streets that make up the vibrant city of East Los Angeles. East L.A. is an unincorporated neighborhood within the East Side District of Los Angeles County. East L.A. is known as the nation's largest Mexican-American barrio, with 96% of the population identifying as Latino, according to the 2018 U.S. Census. During the 1920s, the city became a major destination for Mexican immigrants and Mexican immigrants from other areas of the Southwest due to commonalities found throughout the city. The 60s and 70s brought social change and gave birth to the Chicano movement after the catalyzing death of Los Angeles Times reporter Ruben Salazar in 1970. The movimiento aimed to foster ethnic pride, highlighting injustices and discrimination while breeding new political consciousness. The moratorium marked an important shift towards self-representation and helped create an alternative sphere of cultural production and identity through muralism as a form of symbolic interaction. To better understand the mural movement that took place in East LA, we must go back to where it all began: Mexico. The 1910 Mexico Revolution that aimed to overthrow the dictator Porfirio Diaz awoke the spirit of Mexico. Artists living in Mexico were caught in the midst of the Mexican Revolution that took place until 1921. Under the new directive of the Minister of Education, a series of commissioned public art was established with the purpose of creating a new cultural and national Mexican identity, marrying the modern with the old and drawing upon the rich Mexican history and heritage. Among the artists enlisted was Diego Rivera, and thus the beginning of Mexico's mural movement began.
En esta casa, Museo Casa Diego Rivera, fue donde pues nació Diego. Él vivió aquí nada más hasta los 6 años de edad. En 1921 llegó a México, dice un compañero, que transformado o hecho un monstruo, ¿no? O sea, no físicamente, sino pues como artista, ¿no? Regresó siendo pues, ya Diego Rivera. Él empezó con los murales a raíz de que le encargaron un mural para un colegio que se llama San Ildefonso. Ese colegio, lo que él pretendía plasmar en los murales era enseñar, porque la gente en aquel entonces, pues la mayoría éramos como analfabetas, o sea, no sabíamos escribir, ni leer, ni nada de eso. Entonces Diego lo que plasmaba en los murales era siempre tratar de educar a la gente o decirle a la gente cómo estaba la sociedad. Y por ejemplo, a mí personalmente, con este mural de Sueño de una tarde dominicana en la Alameda Central, me ha puesto a investigar lo que es, por ejemplo, lo que pasó en la conquista, ¿no? Y los personajes que estuvieron en la conquista, en el porfiriato, qué pasó en el porfiriato, qué pasó durante el gobierno de Francisco I. Madero, por ejemplo, ¿no? Yo pues no me había dado cuenta de eso hasta que pues, vi el mural y dije, bueno, sí tiene un montón de personajes que ni siquiera conozco. Entonces, de esa forma siento que Diego hasta la fecha nos ha estado como enseñando, ¿no? Y pues era como su principal objetivo, ¿no? Él plasma mucho lo que era México, porque pues no sé si es como su objetivo, ¿no? A lo mejor creía que, no sé, México debía ser conocido por todo el mundo, ¿no?
What are murals? They're paintings. They're telling a story for the whole public to see, you know. They're done in a large scale, whether indoor or outdoor. I actually started with Aleda Guadalupe. And the way I got into it, Sam Cepeda, who's a psychologist, had a program during the summer to keep the youth involved, painting the buildings and the Maravilla projects. So they wanted to do, the guys there, the Arizona gang, wanted to do a mural. They asked him, what do you want? He says, well, we want the Guadalupe. It was their their saint, their culture. The icon of Our Lady actually goes back before hundreds and hundreds of years before the Spaniards. She actually had a different name, and she was also idoled by the indigenous people of Mexico. About a year before, 1971, my brother was killed, just around here, not too far away. It was really hard for me to relate to anybody affiliated with gangs. The kids wanted to do the Virgen Guadalupe, and that got me out of it. I felt that these kids are just like everybody else. They're scared. They're together because they're protecting themselves. They're just regular kids. They're not all mean. They're not all bad. They're just involved with in that little culture that they have. That's all they know. To them, it's identity. Chicano identity is being aware of our culture, our history. Identity is what we see around us. My mural, it brought in the community together. It really did. I mean, people they made murals Our Lady of Guadalupe everywhere, but for some reason, the timing and the community, one thing, it was something different, it's something special. Murals are a good way of communication to the mass public on the outside.
Yo no tengo vanidad de mi vida, doy lo bueno.
Growing up in East L.A. on the big mediums and television and Hollywood has always been the denizen of bad guys, gang violence, drug deals, poverty. That's the image that's perpetuated, or has been perpetuated throughout the years. This thing's painted at the ground zero of violence from the authorities to the people of East L.A. This was ground zero to the moratorium. The moratorium, which was in 1970, really was the fuse that blew everything up. Instead of painting the big bad wolf, he's back there with a couple of calaveras. They're not important. We're important. The victim of the violence of the moratorium is larger than the perpetrators of the violence. And central of it, of course, here is a family group. See, we got an image of Ruben Salazar. But one thing I always read was Ruben Salazar in the editorials. The group that occupy the left, Los Tigres del Norte, are the folk singers. Sing everything about contrabando and la migra and just topics that you're not going to see on Channel 2 news. You're not going to read it in the Time magazine. It relates to los de abajo.
No pretendo ser tu dueño.
Tell you a little secret. I titled that mural. This is a mural David was painting or had painted when we first met, or when we second met in 75. He says, I'm thinking for a title, and I saw that scroll with a contract. It says contract on it. It says, man, you got to read between the lines before you sign anything. The Latin lover stereotype, and there's mom working in the kitchen. There's a lot of stereotypes in here. Campesino all tangled up, and he's got the guys in their lab coats back there observing them through with bulletproof glass. This young boy is being raised in all this turmoil and culture clashes. Instead of sitting there and being confused, we have an indigenous deity coming down in the form of Quetzalcoatl to inspire him to the truth.
My name is Fabian Debora, and I am born in El Paso, Texas, but raised in Boyle Heights in East L.A. I was an East L.A. streetscaper at the age of 17, and probably one of the youngest at the time. This is designed for battered women with children. The drive behind this, the first thing that came to me was El Poder de la Mujer, the power of the women. This is my sister Wendy with my little nephew Noah. I asked my sister, I say, hey, can I do a portrait of you? I want to use it for a mural, but you're going to be the queen of angels. So this is a Chicana, but this is more of the symbolism of a mother and child with the hieroglyphics of the rays of a queen. But it looks like if it's gang writing almost, like a little hint of street life. You see the city of L.A. here, it's smaller in proportion to her, so as if she's rising from the city of L.A. La Reina de Los Angeles. Here you have a father without a head, a headless father, which represents that the kid is growing up without a father. There's two destinations for that kid. It's either the street life or the nurturing for mother, but he chooses to become nurtured by the mother, which then builds stability, which represents the 6th Street Bridge, which is firm stability, which then allows for the new generations to exist. And here you have the kids playing a game of race. Ready, set, go! And they're running off to East Los Angeles.
Like the mural movement of Mexico, the Chicano murals and movement of the US represented and depicted their own imagined mestizo community, embedded in a vital mix of identity and culture. Like Rivera said, the community murals created by Chicanos were not only art for the people, but rather art of the people, creating their own sense of identity.
De mi vida doy lo bueno que tampoco que otra cosa puedo dar.